Hey, I want to do a quick shout out and promo for a new podcast that supports the type of work we do here. The podcast is called Stinging Back, and it is developed, designed, and read by people who are formerly incarcerated, people who are caught in sex stings, or family members or friends and their partisans who want to bring this message to the public, as I've tried to do with this site and as Lady Justice Blog has also tried to do, to make the public aware just what the police are doing in order to entrap more people and develop victims. For those who have attacked me over the years and over the last few weeks and said, oh, no, money isn't, they're not motivated by money. What are you talking about? Well, they get tons of money and they have very few statistics to actually demonstrate. Very few children who are rescued, which is a number one priority, very few rescued. How do we know this? Because by their own statistics and by what they tell us. And when we've asked them to disaggregate those statistics, to break it down even further, they're unwilling to do that. But yet they go in front of the cameras and they talk to the press and they said, we rescued all these people, or better yet, we stopped these predators from harming these people. And what's missing here is what this podcast deals with: how the police really do that. What do they really say? How are their chats designed? We've showed a lot of that work on this site. They're going to show more on that site to support our efforts and vice versa. It is not what the public seems to think. The public wants to believe that the police are going out there and they don't have an agenda. We've talked about, and this podcast will talk about, the political ramifications, the motivations of police, the motivations of politicians pressuring the police, public pressure on the police, and the specific ways that police are working the numbers so that they can continue to get the funding, to because the funding is supported by grants, obviously, and the grants won't keep coming if you don't show results. So they have to show results. And they don't show results where you get the greatest bang for the buck. People really hurting children. In fact, even worse, and in support of what I just said about the power of money and public approbation, you have a number of police officers who are on record, most notably through Operation Underground Railroad and other vigilante groups with whom they work, in saying that they are not interested in following up leads of real children supposedly exploited because it's much more lucrative to create these stings and net people because you have a 100% chance of getting them because you weave a crime around them and they're unsuspecting innocents. That's what actually happens. Now, again, I'm not saying everybody is an innocent person. I'm not saying that, but I'm speaking of just this type that's netting the largest number of actual sting victims, that is, the adults, not the children. And what's interesting is when you look into some of these stings, like and the press reports about them, you never actually see the chats. You never see that the police are structuring these chats to where they're leading the conversation every step of the way, where they're the first ones to bring up sex, where they're pimping underage people or images of underage people and violating the terms of agreement of the online dating app or social media app, and really playing with people's emotions and their affections and their vulnerabilities online. And of course, that seems silly to people who want to believe that it's absolutely about rescuing children, but it isn't. They never ever tell you how they go about their stings. They never ever show all their work. They tell you just what they want to connect these two together. And finally, they say, well, if we hadn't arrived in the nick of time, as their excuse for not coming up with any hard statistics of real children saved, which is their number one responsibility, as they say, well, we arrived just in the nick of time, or there would have been something catastrophic, which is really, really convenient, isn't it? Too clever by half. So these podcasts are going to pick it up, stinging back. I hope you'll watch and please put your comments in. I know that they'll be very happy to receive them and answer them in kind. Thank you.